So I just want to make sure that you guys can you see me? I need to get bigger. All right. Okie dokie. So welcome to season 3 of the Sharing with Shani Show. I am your host, Shani, and I'm here and I am excited. I'm just waiting for some people to join. So did you guys hear the new theme song? Just if you're on and you heard the new theme song, I have our producer, my producer of the new theme song that is here, and he will be coming on shortly. But I just wanted to just see if you guys are ready to get started. This is a new way to that I am broadcasting the Sharing with Shani Show. I am a little nervous. Oh, I can see my blind. See, this is going to get on my nerves. Okay, that's so much better. I don't like that. Mika is laughing. Are you laughing at me, Mika? You can shake your head. Okay, so you can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Do you see my? I don't know. I was just really nervous. Okay, so look. Oh, so I got people in there. So what's the no for? Heather said no. The welcome part is covering my face. Okay, well, I don't know how to fix that. Let me take that off. Let's hide it. Is that better? Yes. So we're going to walk you through. So thank you so much for joining, Heather. Did you hear the new theme song? Could you hear that? You can comment. I didn't hear the song. Okay, let's play it one more time, folks. Okay. And while we wait for Ben to log on, and that would be awesome. So I'm going to play it one more time for your hearing. You can talk to Shani anytime. It doesn't matter day or night. Shani, giving you light and love. We're coming all without a doubt. There's nothing you can't talk about. Shani, get ready to start the show.
You're with Shani and you know we're gonna talk. Ordinary people and that's an ordinary God. Check the reference in Ephesians 5. We walking in the light and we sharing the love. You know we keep it intact, cause every Monday got it coming, yeah, we're coming like that. So act like you know, we get it on and rocking at the Shani Show.
You can talk to Shani anytime. It doesn't matter day or night.
So
you can talk to Shani. You can.
So that is the new theme song. Give it up for Ben Abs, the producer of that, and he will be on momentarily. Hopefully, he'll come on before we get started. But I'm not going to further delay the show. I'm excited. I'm excited and nervous at the same time. For those of you that know me, that follow me, you know that I do not like doing Facebook Lives, right? I don't like Facebook Lives. I had all the reasons why I know I should, or all the reasons why I didn't like it. You know, you get to see my voice, my face, then I had to worry about my hair, and then it was just all these things, right? And so was really nervous about moving the show to a live format, but everything is video. Everything is video. And so it just made sense. It made perfect sense to move to video format, to get more exposure, and also to help the people that we serve. I highlight ordinary people working for extraordinary God, sharing love, light, and life. And that is really what it is. It's about the special guests that come on to share their testimony, to share what God has called them to do, to share whatever. And I also wanted, because I got so much feedback from people that listen every single Monday, and they're like, you and Mika act like y'all just girlfriends talking on the phone. And I was like, that was the whole intent. So maybe if they can see us interacting, that would be better. And so I'm just so thankful for Mika Fresh, the wellness whisperer. I used to call her the health and wellness guru. And then when I decided to go live, she was like, do you think we can kind of, match my branding with when I come on your show? And I was like, yeah, sure. And so she's actually called the Wellness Whisperer, y'all. And you've been listening to her tips for the past 2 years. And so, so she's like my ride or die with this, because the special guest that we had tonight did not show up. And it's just confirmation of a Facebook post that I posted I believe it was like a couple months ago, where I was like, I started this show January 2016, horrible graphics. We did it anyway. The first time a guest didn't show up, I did the whole show by myself. Mika had class, so she didn't even join that night. And I did that whole hour, but I was just talking. By the time I was finished, I had dry mouth and everything. But you guys love the show, and I thank you for it. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Mika to the show tonight. And I'll drink to that juicebar.com. Mika, how are you tonight?
I am all right. How are you?
I'm doing great. Let me split the screen. Oh, look at that. So I'm excited, Mika. I'm excited about wherever this is going to go, and what's going to happen, what's going to transpire, what will be the outcome for just being obedient and, putting us on YouTube and having people, good comments, bad comments. I'm ready for it, so I'm just, I'm like, I'm ready for it. But what is our health and wellness? What is our wellness whisper tip for tonight?
Yeah, the whisper.
The whisper.
The whisper is revival. Revival.
I like that.
So, all right. I did a blog post today, and I haven't blogged in a while, because earlier this year, there were so many technical difficulties starting in like March 2016. There were so many technical difficulties with my website, different social media platforms. My website had to be like shut down and then restarted. And when it was revamped, it was revamped from like its original state, which just was a hot mess. And so I lost all of my content, all of my blogs, all of my little tidbits that I would share on the site. Everything was gone, and I was finishing up my program. So I had no energy to even think about blogging, trying to recover blogs or anything like that. I think in October, I did some highlighting on breast cancer awareness, like different foods you should stay away from, foods that are good for the boobies and things like that. But I want to say like October was the only time I blogged since March of 2016. So my blog post goes into intent detail about why I chose revival. So last year, my word was for 2017. I'm saying last year, like I feel like I'm still in last year, but for 2017, my word was passion. For 2018, my word is implementation, in whatever other form of implement we are going to use. I struggled between like implement and intent but I think they're synonyms. Okay, they're synonyms. So I'm going to go with implement. We have gone through a lot over just even the last 365 days. We've gone through a lot, all of us, right? So Shani, we do the show every Monday with the exception of like major holidays, and our listeners call in and I hear their struggle, I hear their mess, and I know that they've gone through a lot as well. And so like in my post, and I'm not going to give it all away because I want y'all to read it. So in my post, I said that from 2014 to 2017, I felt like that was my season to gather and sow. And I am praying that 2018 is my year to reap. But even so, you cannot reap without implementing, right? You have to have a plan. You have to have a way to reap the things that you've sown. You can't just go, pulling stuff up out of the ground, even in the physical sense of the word, like as farmers and gardeners, they have a plan. From the moment they think about what it is they want to plant to the harvest time, there is a plan. They don't just go out in the field and start pulling things up. And so I like analogies. I think of myself as a warrior. And on this journey, every fighter goes through a training time. And in that training time, your training is very rigorous. The training is aligned to what type of fight is going to be. So if you think about a heavyweight champion, right? So I'm an 80s baby. So I grew up in the 90s. Let's see. I was a huge Holyfield fan and also a Mike Tyson fan. So when you take the two of them, the training that they went through for their fight together when they fought each other the first time, when you take those two and you think about what type of training they had to go through to fight each other, that training was like a full beast mode because both of them were at the top of their game. Both of them were at the top of that sport in general. And so it wasn't like you were setting Holyfield up to fight, some featherweight. That would have been a piece of cake. He was fighting somebody who was like almost like his equal, like they same heavyweight class. Their records, I don't remember anymore, but their records were very well matched. They both had laid out their legacy, so to speak. So when they were training to fight each other, that training had to match what that fight might be like. Okay. So their trainers had to be wise. They had to discern. They had to think. There was a lot that went into play when they were training because they had to be in the mindset of the other fighter, so to speak. They had to be Tyson, and then Tyson's trainers had to be Holyfield in order to properly train Tyson to fight Holyfield and vice versa. And so once they do all of that and then they fight, then there's a time to replenish. All right. And this replenishment is a revival. And so that was like a nice long way to say I've been through the training, and for the last few years I've actually been fighting whatever the spiritual fights were, whatever the physical fights were, whatever, in my mind, just battling with different things I've been fighting. And now is my time to rest because the fight is never over, right? This proverbial fight really is kind of never over. It doesn't even matter, what entity you believe in, just the fact that you're on this planet, you have to know that every day there is something. There is a battle, there is a choice, there is a decision, there is something. If you find this person who gets to wake up and go throughout their day and go to sleep without having any type of complexity in their day, please, I need to meet that person, find out what's going on and how I can be a little more like them. So fights are fights, right? Fights are not necessarily always difficult. especially if you've trained properly. So, but every fighter needs that time to refresh themselves. So all these synonyms that I'm using, refresh, revitalize, vigor, all of that is the revival. So for all of my Godheads out there, when we have a revival at church, it's time to show up, right? So it's like a revival. I don't know what denomination I grew up in. We maybe Baptist, but I don't think it was like in a traditional sense of the word. We did not have revivals. However, I remember this one time, like we moved a little bit. My mom found a church and we went, I think they were Pentecostal, and we had a summer revival and we had like a youth revival. And then like there was just a revival every month for something or some subgroup within the church. And so I remember though, that was my very first revival, and we prepared for it. We prepared for it because it was like a really big deal. But when it started, we were fed physically, but spiritually. We received so much to fill our cup back up, to replenish us for everything that we had gone through throughout that year. So for the youth, we did it in the summer because we're in school throughout the year, and the summer is our break time. So it's like in the summer, they wanted us to be refreshed to go back to school in the fall, which was an awesome thing. And so it was like that was like my first and last revival. I've never gone to one since then. However, being like a wordsmith, I remember like my experience from that, and then like how I feel right now and why it's so necessary. And so a lot of I'm transparent. I know this is probably a lot of you all's first time seeing this face with this voice. I'm a very transparent person. And when people ask me how I'm doing, for the sake of running people off, right? It's like when you ask somebody how they're doing, usually you don't want the long version of that answer. It's almost a reflex thing. Hey, how you doing? Over the last couple years, though, I've tried to be a little more intentional with that. And if I don't want to know how, if I don't want to know how that person is really doing, if they say hi first and they're like, hey, how are you? I'm like, I'm all right. Thank you. And really, that's it. I used to feel guilty about not saying like, how are you also? But that's the honest part of it. So when people who are close to me or people who I trust with the answer ask me how I'm doing, I'm usually honest. So for the last year, I have been very tired. I've been exhausted. I've been sick. I've been very sick this year with adrenal fatigue and all of that. And so I really needed like the refresher. I needed the calendar to start back at 1 because it's something about the new year, like something clicks in our heads and our mindset where we automatically feel like, yeah, I get to start over, right? It's like I get to do this again. 1 year is out, get to start at the top of the new year. So that's when people set their resolutions and all of that stuff. For me, I don't set resolutions. I really do try to have a continuation. Shani, I shared with you in December, like that was my time for reflection. And I actually, whatever it is that I want to see happen for the next year, I start intentionally, like just calling it into existence. Like I go hard with it in December. It's almost ritualistic. In December, I think maybe I start a little bit early because my birthday is in November. So it's like that's my personal new year. So with each year of aging, or each year of experience, as I like to call it. I don't like to call it aging because I still look 16 if I do say myself. But with, with each year of experience, as I approach the new year, i.e. my birthday, I really get reflective and I start thinking about, did I do the things that I set out to do? Did I accomplish, did I plan? Did I execute? Did I miss opportunities? Whatever it might be. And then from like November 19th to the end of the year, I am really intentional about, okay, I messed that. I missed that opportunity or I messed that up. Now is my time to see where it is that I messed up, how I can continue, or if I even needed it. Because a lot of times we want things that we don't need. And if we keep messing it up, my belief is because it ain't supposed to happen just yet. Because when the creator, when he gifts us things, it's perfect. You're not going to mess it up. So the mess up comes from forcing something to happen before it's supposed to happen. And so just from all of that, and because I'm a thinker, I'm ambidextrous. I use both hands. I was born left-handed. My grandma wanted to force me. So I think with both sides of my brain, y'all, I be exhausted sometimes. Like, for real, that's not even a joke. I'm exhausted sometimes because I do think with both sides of my brain, like, all the time. And then also I'm a creative. So my mind is always like, yeah, I can do this. I can visualize that. I can see that. And I'm going to write it down real quick. And then immediately like reinventing what I just envisioned. And so that's kind of like me in a nutshell. So I really, really needed this revival because I'm exhausted, like physically, mentally, soulfully. I'm exhausted. My blog post will tell you a little bit more why, but the revival is necessary, right? So revival is like bringing something old and resuscitating it, essentially. Something that was like on its way out. You're going to resuscitate it. You're going to bring it back to life. And so it's important that we do this with good things, though, not negative things, not things that aren't supposed to be, none of that stuff. Everything that was good for us, that we overlooked, that we ignored, that we put on the back burner. So all of you that have, different gifts and talents that you put on the back burner for various reasons, whether it be because lack of finances, whether it's because, like for me, I've been in school, I've been in school full time since 2007 and a half. Summer 2007, I went back to school full time. And I actually started at ground zero. I lost a lot of credits. Long story, but I went back to Nova, Northern Virginia Community College. I worked on my associate's degree full-time while working full-time, paid for it, and then I transferred to my bachelor's degree full-time while working full-time. I was a government contractor. I worked for the Army for 7.5 years. I'm so thankful for that job because without it, I could not have done a lot of the things that I did. Like I could leave in the middle of the day and come back to work to finish out my schedule. So I took classes whenever they were available. If it was a class I needed, I took it. It wasn't about, they don't offer it. No, I took it, whether it was at like 6 a.m. or 10 p.m. And I had a 10 p.m. class. So from 2007 to 2017, that is 10 years. I took off 2 semesters when I got pregnant with Halo. She was born in January, so I actually was able to finish out. And so when she was born, the spring semester I took off, and the summer semester I took off, and I went back fall of 2014 to finish out. When I was doing my graduate degree, that started off part-time, and then I got laid off in 2014, and then I finished that degree up full-time. And I need a revival.
Yes, you do. It's funny, Mika, it's funny that your word. So I don't do New Year resolutions either, right? It didn't make sense, and I think it was around 2012. I can't say that I've never done them. But it was about 2012 where I stopped, and I just started having these one word. Like, what was my word for the year? You know, like I think when I went into 2012, my word was relationships. I wanted to connect with people face to face, right? I wanted to stop texting so much, and I wanted to get letters, right? So it was very, you know, I made it a point to not to, you know, because one of the things you're like, oh, I never get Christmas cards. You don't get Christmas cards because you don't send Christmas cards, right? And so I really wanted to embrace the connection of that human contact, because it was so needed. I was turning into just an email and text person, and it didn't feel good. Fast forward, last year my word was clarity, and boy, did I get clear on a lot of things. Right?
I think you rubbed some of that off on me too.
Yeah,
I remember you talking about that, and
I got clear on a lot of things. And then this year, my word is intentional.
Okay,
you say that implementation and intention are cousins. You know, you didn't say cousins. I say cousins because I couldn't remember what you said, but they're similar. They're similar. It's so true, because you know, if you're going to implement things like the things that I want to implement with this it's not a radio show anymore, with this live show, with, you know, with practical partners, with sharing with Shani, I want to be it's going to be very strategic and very intentional. Every move that I make this year, professionally and personally. And because if you want things to happen, you have it's got to be an intent, a reason behind it.
Exactly.
Right. And so I'm excited. I'm excited how we always seem to like connect and match up. I'm like, okay, well, this is exactly what. And actually, the guest that was supposed to be on, her topic was living your best authentic life or something like that. And you can't do that without implementing a plan and being intentional on what you're going, you know, what you're going to bring out and what you're going to give out to the world.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's important because, first of all, I never set like the word of the year type thing. Our mutual friend, Shannon Henderson.
Yeah.
How I got on the show in the first place. She asked me, I want to say like mid 2015, what my word of the year was going to be for 2016. And I remember going, what you mean? What's my word of the year? I don't have a word for the year. And then just kind of like virtually being around her and seeing what that does, right? Is similar to like in my church, we reveal a new banner every New Year's service with like the theme for that year. And it sets the intention of the year. You know, like all that vision that our leaders have is somehow captured in this scripture and then this little tagline. And so I thought about it that way, like, okay, this is like my tagline. What it is I want to put out there, so to speak. And so resolutions was never like a big thing in my family. Never really paid attention because, to be honest with you, I had everything that I wanted. I am a gracious person, very grateful. So I don't really want a whole lot of things. It wasn't until I started going to school and really lining up what I wanted, like my forever career to be. That's when I started to think about, okay, how do I align, you know, like my vision to my legacy? And that is when I started to be more like on purpose about it, to really envision. I'm intuitive. I have very special gifts, and I started to hone in on all those gifts, like hard since like 2015. And so last year, that was my first year choosing a word. And so passion was just like an easy choice for me because it was like it was the impetus behind everything for me. I have a lot of passion. I was very passionate about all the things that I was involved in, finishing school, being Halo's mom, owning the juice bar, writing a book. All of those things is what I was passionate about. But I have a good friend. He's a business mentor. His name is Lim. He'll tell me, because I'll be like, okay, I got an idea for that. He'll be like, please don't have another idea. He's like, please don't have another idea. The world does not need another idea. He said, no, for real though, for you and your business, you don't need another idea. Ideas is not what's bringing you money. Ideas just sit there. He's like, you need a plan. I need some action. You have to really, all these ideas, you now have to put them in action. And so 2017 was a rough year for the juice bar, like a very rough year. It was my first year doing it full time, and it was hard. I lost a lot of clients. I ended the last 1.5 quarters with no monthly clients. I had like pick-me-ups, as I call them. And that can be very scary, not knowing where your income is coming from. And I thought about, what he said, like, you don't need any more ideas. You need some action. All those ideas, now it's time for you to put them into play. Like, press play. Just press play on it. You don't think about it anymore. I'm sure you've thought about it enough. Just start somewhere. Mm-hmm. So it's even more important for the revival though, right? Because if you've exhausted yourself of all of your resources, of all that you have in you, when you put so much into your business, your family, yourself, to the point where, minus yourself, it's like everything except for yourself. When you put so much into that, you've got to revitalize yourself because there's nothing left. It's when you're on that plane and they say, in case of emergency, when the oxygen masks fall down, what do they tell you? Put it on yourself first. You can't help anybody else if you're about to pass out, right? If you have nothing left to give, you cannot give anything to anybody else. So it's like a revival is extremely important. And don't wait till the new year to do it. That's just how my timing happened. And so, we'll take advantage of it being kind of fresh on everybody's minds. They do have their resolutions and their goals and all that they want to do. But I don't think people really take the time to think about, to assess, can I do those things in the current state that I'm in? Mm-hmm. Can I do those things? It's like when you're working out, when you go to the gym and you do those power sets, your trainer, when they push you to go to that next set with no rest, right? No rest in between. When that trainer is pushing you, they usually know. They know the face where you are lying about not having, oh, I can't do it, versus like your whole state of being. They can tell when you have nothing left, and they will give you a rest. Like, all right, good. They do a little hand clap. All right, Archer, you did good. Take a break.
You can take a break now.
Take it out. Whatever it was you was doing. If it's arm day, shake the arms out. Leg day, shake the legs out. Whatever it is, you guys sit there for a minute, catch your breath. Get your mind right again. You're like, all right, I can do this. I can do this. All right. And then you go back in, you're like, all right, I'm good, at least for another 2 sets before you pass out for real this time.
Right.
So, but even with that, it's like if you are not giving it your all the right way, right, you can damage yourself. When you're in the gym, if you do it the wrong way, doing it when you're too tired, doing it when you have nothing left, you will damage yourself. And it's the same thing. And whatever this journey is that everyone is on, all of our journeys are different, right? If you don't take the time to rest and replenish, it's not going to matter. You won't even make it to see it. You won't make it to see, you know, the fruits of all the hard work that you put in. So it's like, this is the top of the year is a really good time to think about. We slow down a little bit, right? Because it's colder. Oh my gosh. If you're on the East Coast, it's been cold. It has been so cold. We have been like in Arctic temperatures. So this has been like the perfect time because a lot of people have been a little more indoors. You know, they're not out and about as much. They have a little more still time to themselves. So I've been like urging people. I have a new client. Is a young person too that they just feel like that, not suicidal, but just like, I have nothing left. And I'm like, this is a perfect time for you to just take inventory, see what it is that you've come from and map out where it is that you want to go and give yourself the things that you need to get where you're going. And that's all a part of the revival, giving yourself what it is you need to get where you're going. It's like a rest stop.
Yes, absolutely. And Mika, how can people get in contact with you?
The social media handles are I'll Drink to That Juice Bar. That is also the website, I'llDrinkToThatJuiceBar.com. Very responsive. We got the new book, The Papaya Splendid Adventure. I don't have it in front of me. Yeah, I don't have it in front of me. But the book is out. It's on the site. It's free shipping with that as well. We're gonna have an official launch in March. I'm not gonna reveal it. It's gonna be really cute, y'all. So anyone with children from like, 0 to 10, this will be a really good, fun family event for everybody to come to. But other than that, we don't have too much going on. January is traditionally my time of rest before I like go full to everything. So I replicate that in like all facets of my life. I just kind of just chill out for a minute.
Right.
Chill out.
Awesome. Well, it wasn't that bad. I was nervous. I'm still nervous. I'm trying to figure out why I can't see Ben in the lobby. Okay. He's been here. He's posted on Facebook that he's about to join.
Okay.
So what I think I'm going to do is...
Does he have a Mac computer too?
That's what I don't know. Let me check with him. But I figured out a way that apparently if you show a comment, like if you make a comment into this live, I can add you. I can show your face. So I'm going to see if we can do that.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm going to check right there. So just bear with me. So, as we get bigger and better, there'll be a producer that does this, right? But I am the host and producer. I'm going to know all parts of the job of doing live shows. Let's see, Ben. Can you post a comment? Can you post a comment? And I'll connect that way. So I don't know what's going on with that. But anyway, Mika, I thank you so much. I appreciate just you being here as like my co-host in a sense for the last 2 years. What we want to do, everyone, if you're watching, if you're listening, or if you're going to listen on the replay, put some topics in the comments so that we know what you want to hear about, what you're struggling with, some of the things that you're dealing with. And, you know, you don't have to, you could write a book if you want to, if you're long-winded, but if you just want to write a one word, like, you know, you're struggling with fear, you're struggling with depression, you know, this is the month where a lot of people get depressed after the holidays, you know, in the holiday season, after the holidays. So, oh, thank you, Regina. I can do it, Miss Producer. Regina is my first roommate when I came to DC. I won't tell that story, but we go way back, over 20 years. So, but thank you so much. But if you're having an issue, you know, a wellness issue, a life issue, let us know, because Mika is trained. She, you know, we're usually on the same page. She teaches me every single Monday. And I don't mean on the same page as like I disagree with what she says. I mean on the same page like I'm thinking what she says. I'm thinking what she says before she says it. That's what I mean by the same page. So we definitely want to hear from you. So if you have a question for Mika, while I can get Ben on, you can drop those in the comments too. But my question, Mika, would be in terms of revival, like what would be a step? Like, what would be the first thing that I would need to do to get in a revival frame of mind?
So, because I wanted to just say, just get in this frame of mind. But so, an assessment, you have to take an assessment, right? You got to figure out, you have to be honest with yourself. Always, 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 right? Ask yourself, am I tired? Like, am I tired or am I bored? Because they're different. Do I have anything left to give? And when you ask yourself a series of questions, can I go on? And again, everybody, I'm not talking about suicide or anything like that. I mean, your journey and staying focused, like staying on track with that. That's what I'm speaking of. So when you ask yourself, all right, am I tired? Like, I feel tired. Sometimes it's boredom. Sometimes it's loss of vision. You know, like you just no longer know where you're going. When you were talking about that intent, I was thinking, because otherwise we just kind of like wander aimlessly. And that is not good. It's counterproductive, but it's also exhausting in itself. If you think about like on a road trip, if you take the wrong exit and you trying to get back, I remember like driving in DC, those detours in DC never, like you'll see the sign that says detour and then you just be sitting there like, okay, where is the rest of it? It's exhausting. You just kind of want to pull off the road and be like, I'll try this tomorrow. So it's like, when you feel yourself feeling that way, where it's like, okay, you keep putting it off, usually it's because you're exhausted. You have nothing left. And once you realize you have nothing left, then you need to ask yourself, what is needed to continue? Okay? Just like going to the grocery store. What do I need to replenish my pantry? What do I need to continue on my journey? Is it more sleep? Is it eating better? Is it more time to yourself? Is it saying no more often? Is it putting a little less on your schedule? Is it being more intentional with the mission, the vision that you have for your life? Those are some things that you need to ask, and then answer, so that you can start your revival properly. You gotta, Shani, do you guys do revivals at your church?
We have in the past. We haven't done it in a while, but we definitely, so we usually do fall revivals.
Okay.
So like, it's this kind of, during the summer, people kind of, some people take a break from church, ministries go on vacation, it's this, kind of this lackadaisical, style, because people are on vacations or what have you. Mm-hmm. So we have this fall revival to get renewed and jumpstart, to take us through through the rest of the year, because
right.
if you're in ministry, especially serving at a church,
Mm-hmm.
you know that, you know, September through December is jam-packed.
Mm-hmm.
Jam-packed with things. And then just the regular things that, you know, you Thanksgiving, Christmas, the, you know, giving out Christmas baskets, you know,
right.
giving out Christmas stuff. And then what if people in your congregation get sick or pass away? Or so it's really, you know, it's really busy. So we usually have a fall revival.
All right. So, and doing that is a lot of preparation just for the revival itself, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then, so like with our revival, like I mentioned, the revival itself is like you reach out, the church reaches out to people, and how do I say this? They reach out, it would be like, you know, your SMEs, they will reach out to people that are experts in whatever it is that they're trying to, whatever it is that aligns with the vision of the church, they're going to reach out to those ministers who have like slam dunked, you know, that area themselves. So if you're looking for, you know, your congregation to come together a little bit more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Reach out to a minister who is good at bringing people together and getting them on one accord, you know, and having everybody's vision align. If it's you're looking for more active members, you would reach out to a minister who is good with, you know, just kind of keeping their members, interested, and, you know, just all of that, right? So it's like for this, when you are going to do your own personal revival, to get into, to do it the right way, that's what you want to do. You got to ask yourself what it is that you need. And then as you're planning, you really should only be focused on those things that you need. Otherwise, you're not really reviving yourself. You're planning for something else. So when you're doing your revival and you're setting your list up, you know, your grocery list, then it should be the things on there that you need. Right. So those questions I asked earlier is like, do you need more sleep? Do you need to eat better? Do you need to take more breaks? Do you need to put less on your schedule? Do you need to say no more often? Those types of questions. What is it that you need? So in order to do that, I guess you would also need to know, like, what is your goal? Mm-hmm. What is your goal for this year? What is your goal for your life in general? Like, what is it that you plan to do? I know what my goal is. I know what type of legacy it is that I want to leave. So every step I make is pushing me towards that particular goal. And of course, we have smaller goals. So like for the first quarter of the year, my goal is to acquire more clients. So my revival is going to be, I'm going to make sure I have the things that I need to get me more clients, to get me, you know, more stability and things like that. So the whole intentional thing is perfect because you have to be intentional. You have to be very purposeful when you're doing a revival. Otherwise, you're not refreshing yourself. It's like a party.
Right.
Parties are exhausting. It's fun when you're having them, but they tire you out at the end, no matter what age you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll be, you know, I'm always transparent on here. I share my mess. I share everything. I think most of my first book came out of a revival.
Okay.
Like I got real, I was just like, I came out of that revival and so we had fall revivals, always fell on my birthday weekend, right? And so it was like, okay, I'll be at church. I won't be anywhere else. And this one particular year, I think it was 2010 or 11. And one of my girlfriends, she asked me what I was doing for my birthday. I said, oh, we're having a revival at church. She said, okay, I'll come. And she came and spent my birthday with me. And she got me a journal. Mm-hmm. And that is where sharing my mess becomes a message, which was my blog site at the time. that was essentially how it was born. It was born out of journal entries.
Mm-hmm.
And look where we are now. Look where we are now. Almost 3 books in, and a live show. I don't know what to call this.
I'll be like you when I grow up. 3 books.
You want to be like me? Oh no, I don't know.
3 books. That's nice.
So yeah. So I'm excited. Hey, Mika, thank you for spending a whole hour with me. I want to try one more thing. So I should have asked, because we did have this problem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how. Okay, yeah, do that. So I'm like reading his text message. I was like, I don't know what are you talking about. So anyway, Ben, and I should have told him this over the weekend, but he had a Mac and he had to update Chrome. Okay. So I need to let so if you are a potential guest and you're gonna listen to this to know how we do the format. If you're on a Mac, see, I'm not a Mac. I just moved to an iPhone, so I don't have a Mac. But if you have a Mac, you need to update your Chrome in order for you to be able to be a guest on here. And I will definitely update the emails that come out to remind you about the show and get you prepared so we don't have this problem for the rest of the year. So, but what we're going to do, we're going to try something. I'm going to get Ben on the phone. And Mika, if you want to hang out, you can. It's up to you. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to get Ben on the phone. Is he calling me? Oh, he's calling me. So let me take this off speaker. Hey, Ben, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, can you guys hear him? Can you guys? Okay, everybody can hear him. So so thankful that you were smarter than me to say, can we call in? So, I appreciate that. But I'm just excited. I'm going to play the song again. I do want to just introduce you as the producer of my new theme song. I hope it gets so much attention on YouTube and and live live on the replays and everything. But I'm loving the song. I thank you guys so much. You did a great job. And if you want to introduce yourself, Ben, and then introduce Amos, who is he the vocalist on the track or you could just tell me what his role was.
Yeah. I'm Benjamin, rap name Ben Abs, and Amos Evans is the vocalist as well as co-producer on the track. He does keys and several other things on there, basically. And the one person that
Hey!
Yeah. So the one person that we're missing is Isaiah Thomas, who was also a producer on the track as well. But yeah, so we're just excited that you gave us the opportunity. But yeah, that's kind of how we put this song together. Amy, you want to say anything?
Yeah, it was awesome. So we're kind of like a newly formed group. So this is one of our first opportunities making music for someone outside the group. So it was really fun, and we're excited to keep doing more things like this.
Yes, and so tell people before I play the track, as we I'm going to play it as we end the show. But tell people how they can get in contact with you.
Sure. So we're still developing, but you can email me and contact the other guy. So my email address is amosevansmusic@gmail.com. So we love to hear more from you. That's also my Instagram handle. You can find me on there, on Facebook, and I'll connect you with everybody.
Okay, and that's Amos Evans, correct?
Yep, EVANS.
Okay.
Music.
All right, so everyone, thank you so much for listening tonight. Ben, do you have a follow-up? Do you have something else that you'd like to say?
No, we appreciate the opportunity, and we're going to be playing the show back. We definitely thank you so much, Shani. We love working on the project, and we know we're going to have people who are listening to it and enjoying it because you have an awesome mission. So we're thankful that we were able to partner with you in ministry, and yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I'm definitely, if anybody else needs, if people are going to say, hey, I want a original song, because a lot of people don't realize that you can't play everybody's song on Facebook. So if you guys have live shows, podcasts, or anything, think about getting an original song. I'm just going to tell you, right before we end, I just got to tell you this story because I'm a storyteller. When I started the Blog Talk Radio show 3 years ago, so we're in our third season, and November of 2015, it was clear as day, start a Blog Talk Radio show. And I was like, I don't even know how to do that, right? And it was just like, and I knew it wasn't my idea because I didn't want to do it. That's how I know that it's God speaking to me, or if it's myself. Like if it's my idea, I'm really excited, and then it never works out because it was like I wasn't supposed to do it. But he told me to do it, and literally once I implemented a plan, Mika, right? I implemented my plan, and I did it. I was booked for 6 months. So that's how I knew. That was the first confirmation. But in between me starting the show in January 2016 and November, I got to tell you something. Let's back up to February of 2016 when I was just writing my first book. My book was due out in June, and the Holy Spirit said, you should have your own song to go with the book, right? That's all he said. This is what I thought he meant. Have a book trailer, right? Do a book trailer to advertise the book, and then the song would be the music for the trailer. Okay. Did the book trailer, found a film major. She came out, she directed the book trailer. I had people who read a non-edited version of the book. They read it. We sat around my girlfriend's her kitchen table, and we talked about the book and everything. It was so nice. I was going to show the trailer at the book launch. The trailer never got shown. It was a technical disaster, right? So no one has even seen that book trailer, right? So that was my idea. That's not what the Holy Spirit told me to do. He said, make a song. He didn't tell me when to use the song. Well, lo and behold, when I went to start my Blog Talk Radio show, I couldn't use any other songs. I had to get permission. It was copyright infringement to use everybody's songs. And then I'm sitting there trying to figure out, well, how am I start the show? I think you need music to start the show. And it was like, but you got a song, Sharing My Mess. I had bought the song like 6 months before the radio show. So I say all that to say that sometimes you get directions to do things and you don't know why. And you just got to trust the process. You got to trust the spirit. And so I thank you guys for making the song a little bit upbeat. It's so funny how, 3 years ago, it was very melancholy. Sharing My Mess was so sad. And now 3 years later, Sharing My Mess is so liberating, and it's fun, and it's exciting. And we got a rap because, I grew up in the 80s and 90s and I like hip hop. So this has been the first episode of the Sharing with Shani show, highlighting ordinary people working for an extraordinary God, sharing love, light, and life. Join us next week with the wellness whisperer, Mika Fresh, and our special guest, who I usually know who that is, and I don't. And so I'm so sorry. Let me just go to the calendar right now. That's just wrong. This is why I need a producer. I need somebody who will have access to all this, and they could just tell it to me so I don't look stupid. Okay, so our guest next week will be Janae Kula. Janae Kula. She's going to talk about finding your God-given destiny. So that is our our guest for next week on the holiday Monday. So we will be live next Monday, Mika. And I'm gonna sign out. Thank you for spending your hour with us. And this is the song by Ben Abbs and Amos Evans. Thank you. God bless you and peace.
Doesn't matter day or night. Giving you life and love. We're coming on without a doubt. There's nothing you can't talk about. Get ready to start the show.
You're with Shani and you know we're gonna top ordinary people and extraordinary God. Check the reference in Ephesians 5. We walking in the light and we sharing the love. You know we keep it intact, cause every Monday got it coming, yeah, we're coming like that. So act like you know, we get it on and rockin' at the Shani Show.
You can talk to Shani anytime. It doesn't matter day or night. Shani.